Okay, girls, so today what we are going to do is we are going to create some particle board. Yes, this lovely stuff right here, particle board. As you can see by closely observing our particle board and what we've already talked about, we know that particle board is made out of the scrap little pieces of wood that falls on the floor at the mill when the lumber is getting cut. And so we don't waste anything that comes from the tree. They even sweep up the floor and they take all of this stuff and they glue it together to make particle board. Okay? So what you are going to need today is your paper plate, your sawdust, your shavings, the matrix that I sent you in your last kit that you picked up. I would also love for you to get out your little bit of water that you had that we covered with a lid and the other container that you had with water that had no lid. Because we are going to talk a little bit about evaporation and see what happened. So go ahead and get those materials. Very good. Okay, thank you for coming back. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to talk about that big giant word evaporation. Evaporation. We talked about how evaporation is when water heats up and moves into the air. And if you look very closely at my two containers here, I hardly have any water left in this container because it was able to evaporate out of the cup and into the air. I had that whole thing covered and now we just have a couple of drops left. Whereas this one, look, still has a lot of water in it. It wasn't allowed to escape the cup because there was a lid on it. It can only go as high as the lid. So this water was not allowed to evaporate into the sky like this one was. And you might be saying, how did it evaporate in the sky if it was in your house? Well, we open our doors, and every single time we open our door, air escapes, right? And what is in the air? Water is in the air. Even inside your house, you might not think so, but it actually is. And so when we open our doors, we allow the water that's in the air in our house to escape and head up to the clouds. This one, unfortunately, was not allowed to escape because we put a barrier over the top of it. So it could only rise up as high as, and you can see where some droplets have come and risen from the bottom of the cup to the top, and they sit there nicely on the top of the lid. And they'll be there for a very, 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 very long time until I open that lid. So that's evaporation. So now that we've covered that little experiment that we had, I want to get right into today's experiment, which is creating particle board. Now I sent you a matrix. It's supposed to be a Play-Doh-ish like texture. Mine actually could be a little bit softer, but I'm going to work with this right now. If yours has hardened up a bit, that is okay. Add a drop of water at a time to your matrix until it gets to this consistency. If you accidentally ruin your matrix because you've added too much water, the way you make it is, let me think. Yeah, you take 8 ounces of cornstarch. Okay, this is obviously what your mom will have to do for you. 8 ounces of cornstarch and 1 3/4 cups of cold water. Mix it in a pan over low heat. Keep stirring, 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 stirring the whole time. And then eventually, right when the matrix is about to boil, it will start clumping up and turn into like what looks like mashed potatoes. You might even still have a little bit of liquidy residue on the side. That is okay. Shut off the heat there and keep mixing, and then you'll get this nice matrix, we call it, the glue that's going to hold our particle board together. You'll get that, and it's also fun to keep making particle board with. So here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the plate. Now in my manual over here, it says to have you guys use a popsicle stick and stir it in, but I'm all about using the hands. So I am going to start with my sawdust, and I am going to just kind of pour it over, okay? And then I'm going to add some shavings because particle board is a mixture of sawdust and shavings, so there's larger particles and smaller particles. And we're going to work this in. This is why I have my camera down. I didn't want to keep doing the up and down because I broke a leg on my camera. So, and I keep dropping my poor camera on the floor. So, you guys are just looking at my hands today, but you're just going to mix this in. And mix it in. And you have to like get all the pieces. And I'm definitely going to have to add more. But I'm just going to keep mixing this in. And you basically keep mixing it in until it just won't pick up anymore. It just will not pick up anymore sawdust or shavings. So you work it, you work it, you work it. It's really good for your hands. Feels really cool. I can definitely add more. Probably going to add the rest of that. And if you remember, you probably still have some wood shavings and sawdust on a plate drying too from our other evaporation experiment. You can definitely use that. Now this is obviously the kindergarten way of making particle board. This is the way that real particle board is made. They just obviously do it in much bigger machines that would mix this glue and this mix this glue with this wood together. Okay, but you get the idea. This is how it's done. Nothing, nothing, nothing goes to waste. All the wood is purposed, okay, and turned into something because it's important that we use our materials in a smart way. You know, we don't want to be wasteful. We don't want to waste our beautiful trees either. We want to use every bit of that tree when we cut it down. So now I've used up all of my particle board. I've used up, all of my wood chips and shavings. And I've got a pretty cool, and it's not sticky anymore. I've got wood my camera does not focus very good anymore, all through it. And so now here's the fun part. Now you get to shape it into whatever you want to shape it in. If you have a cookie cutter, go ahead and make cookie cutter particle board pieces. Or, shape it into a brick like this if you want to. Make it 3D. Maybe turn it into a heart. Totally up to you. Or you could have a particle board sphere. If you're really creative and you know how to do it, make it into a fish or whatever you can think of. It is totally up to you what you turn your particle board into. If you want to turn it into letters, turn them into letters. Break it into 2 pieces and make 2 blocks of particle board. Totally up to you. Make what you think you want your particle board to be. And then you're going to have to leave it out on the plate for a couple of days, because this is going to have to dry completely, okay? And it will dry, and then you will have a very hard, very sturdy, very cool piece of wood that you created. And you will also have plywood that you created. And know that places, people use this particle board all the time. If you have a barn, a lot of people use particle board inside of barns. A lot of people have particle boards even in their homes. If you have an addition in your home, might have used particle board instead of plywood. A lot of people do that. A lot of people have particle board as their subfloor in their home. So if you don't have hardwood floors, but you have like a linoleum type floor like I do right here, underneath might be particle board or plywood. So here, I just made that. Pretty good, huh? And just keep playing with it until you get it the way you want it. And you can say that I made particle board. There you go. We made particle board together. We're awesome. We're little woodworkers, right? We're little beavers. All right, so then after you're done playing with your particle board, I want you to go into your science notebook, and at the top have Mom write, how is particle board made? And then I would like you to draw pictures and use labels to tell me what we did to make this beautiful particle board. Okay? All right, well, I hope you had fun. This is going to wrap up our unit on wood. We have learned a lot about wood and where wood comes from and how not all wood is the same. And we're going to be moving on to something else quite soon. So have fun making particle board. Bye.